Tomorrow City was one of the cities of the future, built to usher in a new age of prosperity, seizing upon scientific achievements at the dawn of the 20th century. Then came the war. Radium-powered soldiers assembled, diesel-fueled nightmares rolled off the production lines, city fought city, and the world burned in atomic fire. We survived barely. Tomorrow City still stands, an oil-stained beacon of hope, part refuge, part asylum. Beset by dangers from both within and without, a secret war now rages on its streets. Diesel-born monstrosities stalk the alleyways, air pirates strike from the wastelands, mad scientists continue their dark work, occultists manipulate the city's strange geometry, and secret societies plot in the shadows. Hello and welcome to Monkeys with Fire. In this show we'll take a first look at Tomorrow City, a Dieselpunk role-playing game of action, mystery and mad science. Published by Osprey Games, this 224-page hardcover book is designed and written by Nathan Russell, with art and illustrations by Biagio D'Alessandro. Tomorrow City is available for £25, or you can grab the PDF directly from Osprey Games for £17.50. Joining me as always to share her invaluable insights into the game is Mystical.
This is going to be really, really fun to look at. It looks like it's got lots of interesting aspects to cover in that, so I'm looking forward to this, to jump in.
Dieselpunk is a retro-futuristic subgenre of science fiction, similar to steampunk or cyberpunk, that represents the time period from World War I until the 1950s. In Tomorrow City, the Great War never ended, perpetuating decades of conflict until it simmered into a stalemate. Amidst the wreckage of a fractured world, pockets of civilization endure, none more remarkable than the sprawling metropolis of Tomorrow City. A beacon of scientific innovation and architectural wonder, it is also a hotbed of danger and deception. Adventures will unfold in the shadowed alleyways and towering skyscrapers of Tomorrow City, and perhaps venturing into the wastelands beyond. Dieselpunk stories cover a broad gamut of genres and plots and incorporate a mix of alternate history, science fiction, and even horror. They often deal with themes of survival, war, and science.
Survival, to me, is my core of gaming, and that I love it. Everyone in the city is fighting for their life. Resources are scarce, the streets are dangerous, and people are constantly forced to make tough choices between doing the dangerous thing and doing the right thing. That to me is what pulls me into any game, whether it's a video game, whether it's a tabletop role-playing game, even books. To see that we have a game that is going to go into that along with others that you can meld is really, really interesting and really fun.
Tomorrow City is divided into 5 distinct districts. The Inner City, Midtown, and the Rimside each lie on one of the huge discs that turn about the spindle on the city's surface. Beneath the streets, deep into the funnel-shaped structure of the city, is the Great Factory. Then hanging from underneath the city, like a lattice of rusting ironwork, is the shantytown of Underside. Beyond the city lies the endless wastelands of ruined America, from the radium-poisoned deserts and seas to the broken mountain ranges and twisted forests. Scattered settlements dot the wilderness, eking out a meager existence in the mud.
You know what? I love when you have something like that, because you have essentially 3 different levels that you can have entire campaigns on that never touch each other.
The designer does reference 1984 by George Orwell as a major inspiration, and you can definitely see that when it talks about the various government agencies that are within Tomorrow City. The Ministry of Peace, the Ministry of Truth, the Ministry of Science.
The different cults and societies are really interesting to look at, especially once you look at the ministries and that, and then you look at the other societies and cults. And the one that stood out to me is the Court of Pigeons. And I think that's because I'm a very roguish player in TTRPGs. So being in an organization where, you know, it's made up of spies and informants is very appealing.
It's a very rich setting, isn't it?
It is.
It's not one that people would typically think of, but as soon as you start looking, you realize, oh my gosh, there have been so many influences that you haven't quite ever sort of really fully appreciated that you can draw into the game.
Yeah, I can just see an amalgamation of different sci-fi movies just flashing in my head just to make up the different scenes. So now that we know a bit about the world and that, what kind of characters can we play?
In Tomorrow's City, you create your character by first visualizing your character, choose or create free trademarks, choose free edges, choose free advantages, choose or create 2 flaws, write 1 drive, describe 2 ties, set your moxie, cred and grit, gear up, and then round out your character. Character creation revolves around selecting free trademarks that shape the character's identity, abilities, and place in the world. Trademarks offer free advantages, unique abilities, bonus items, or equipment, enabling characters to perform exceptional feats and bend the rules. Which trademark appealed to you then, Mystic?
For background, it was definitely riffraff. As soon as I saw it, riffraff was my go-to. And then for descriptor, was sneaky, of course. And for occupations, I was tied between crook, which would put me like fully in rogue, or more of a gadgeteer, which is more of like that weird science bit. And that was interesting to me.
I like the idea of being a wastelander, someone down on the surface looking up. Maybe I was once part of the city as a Sky Ranger. I still have my flight suit and my jetpack, but I've been disgraced, I've been disbanded from the city itself, and I am trying to get my way back up. But of course, that is no easy feat. In Tomorrow City's Dieselpunk narrative, a character's equipment is a crucial part of the world. From fantastical inventions to elaborate vehicles, the gear system lets players and GMs explore and customize their arsenal. Basic gear like rope or binoculars have no tags or special rules associated with it. Specialist gear, on the other hand, incorporates tags with both positive and negative effects. Additionally, Tomorrow's City features rules for vehicles including motorcycles, cars, aircraft and dirigibles, employing streamlined rules for thrilling air combat.
I think with the equipment that you have available to you in this particular genre, there's so much variety, which to me is great because it's just something else your players can run with, and you can create so much chaos and more story elements. So I absolutely love it.
I'm certainly excited about having my players running through the interior of a dirigible and potentially, using a gunfight happening there, but making sure that they do not hit any helium tanks. I think that could be quite a thrilling conclusion to a story.
Oh, that would... See, and I'd be the player. I'm the chaos gremlin. So I'd immediately be like, that says I shouldn't touch it. I'm gonna go touch it. Oh my gosh. I would be the one over by the helium tanks, like trying to like inhale the helium.
If you're familiar with Nathan Russell's noir role-playing game Hard City, you'll feel right at home with the rules for Tomorrow City. It's a dice pool-based game employing tags, brief descriptors that encapsulate crucial details about characters, locations, or events. When taking an action, players assemble a dice pool from positive tags, while negative tags introduce danger dice. Roll them together, and each danger die cancels out a matching action die. The highest remaining action die determines how successful the action is. A roll of 4 or 5 signifies partial success with minor hiccups, while a 6 denotes flawless execution, potentially yielding boons. 3 or less, that's failure and things have gone awry. Checks are exclusively for players, freeing the GM to craft captivating scenes and encounters.
I'm definitely someone who, when playing TTRPGs, rules can very much get muddled for me. So having a game that is more focused on you actually role-playing your character and the story versus rolling dice it's so refreshing, because there's so many TTRPGs that have a lot of rules to them that just get lost. So I really, really enjoy this.
Yes, that's the advantage of this system, isn't it? There's no number crunching. Again, it leans back into the sort of narrative side, but everything is instantly identifiable, and that being the case, you're just using those positive elements to increase your dice pool, but of course, you're mindful of the negative elements as well that are going to add to that pool.
What negative? There's no negative.
Well, there could be. You could be intoxicated, and that'll give you a negative dice.
No, that's not negative. That's just more potential.
My luck is better when I'm had several bottles of whiskey. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Can you imagine if you were investigator or detective, and that was an actual feat that you had, because they always give them a bottle of whiskey or something?
Yeah, but that's the whole point, is you justify it.
Yeah.
You're going to be in a social environment. You got to do a social test, and a couple of swigs of whiskey, of course, is a positive for you, and you get an extra dice for being half drunk.
That was amazing.
Threats abound in Tomorrow City, enemies, obstacles, and all manner of problems standing in the player's path. From street thugs to ministry agents, rampaging automatons, and science gone awry horrors, every challenge promising adventure.
The enemies that we come up against are typical for what the setting is, which is nice. You're not coming up against something too kind of out there. It's nice to have a game where you're coming up against people rather than monsters, but you still have that sci-fi influence as well. I love the terms that they use, like mooks. It's one of my favorites.
Well, again, there is a good variety, isn't there? Because we have the ministry agents, general citizens, there are robots of different degrees and automatons. I do like the angel. So perched upon the spindle like gold or chrome clad gargoyles, angels are sophisticated automatons that Mother uses to guide the citizens of Tomorrow City. And the artwork is very evocative.
I'm definitely trying to make weeping angels in my head.
Some sort of final thought. So it essentially it's the hard city mechanics, but in a Dieselpunk setting. I'm enjoying the sort of uniqueness of that. We see so many other sort of sci-fi or fantasy setting games, and I think this is the first one that we've encountered that is Dieselpunk. So it's been very refreshing to look at this theme.
I think this game is really, really open to people who are creative. That's what this was built for, was people who have a vivid imagination that you can just, here's the slightest little prompt and run with it, because you will be able to create incredible stories. That is what I want. So I love this. This is fantastic.
Dieselpunk is often described as being part of a continuum of genres, sitting between the hopeful optimism of steampunk and the cynicism of cyberpunk. And I see the good thing about doing this is I'll be able to say every single word perfectly.
Oh, but that was half the fun.
I know. Just as I'm getting older, I'm just having mini strokes all the time. I'm losing the ability to talk.
God, I have that daily. Don't even worry.